All right, so here's another, we just went over this one. Now here's another example of this same exact thing. So the reason that I show you a few examples of the same thing happening is so that it is instilled in your mind what you generally expect from an actual trend. So by the time you start learning how to find markets that may be trending, or you're looking at a market that may be starting a trend, you already can kind of pinpoint what may occur in the event that a bullish move is going to come from it. So we're going to go to the next step in a second and look at a multitude of areas within which more opportunities are available. But what I want to do is I want to ease you into it by showing you some examples of the things that I've personally traded using some of the concepts you've learned so far. So before we go further, here's another market I personally traded. Now, once again, you can play the game with yourself of asking yourself, where, given what I've learned so far, could he have entered for there to be a potential move that he's looking to take this higher, or that he took this higher on? Where could that be? So once again, this is a personally traded market that I did trade as well. This is FICO, a stock on a 65-minute chart. And again, do not worry too much about the names of the markets, because again, what you trade and the timeframes you trade on don't matter. What matters is the moves that you look for, and that you understand what it is you're doing as a trader. So again, looking at this very quickly, a lot of you, using what you know so far, should be able to kind of draw and understand that you have a stage one, followed by some kind of large stage two, followed by a stage one, followed by some kind of large stage two, followed by a stage one, which is what's happening now. Or like, you can draw this bigger, just like this, stage two into this stage one, with the expectancy, if we were to continue trading this thing, to make a stage two higher, right? So very, very simple. Alternatively, if before this you started seeing your own things, you could have also pinpointed for instance, stage one into a stage two, stage one into a stage two, stage one into a stage two, stage one that kind of failed down and became a longer term stage one, which would be the black, into a new stage one, into stage two, stage one, into stage two, stage one, into stage two, over and over and over again, following the same things that we saw over and over and over again, where you have stage ones and twos get created. Those are creating overall accumulations, and those take the price higher. And we can keep following this all the way up, right? Stage two into a stage one that kind of failed. And then again, you had the stage one into a stage two, kind of this inside stage one into a stage two. And we would expect now that in the event that, this black stage two would deliver, we're going to go through a stage one into a two, a stage one into a two, over and over and over again. And so far, based on what you've learned, basically the anticipation of the higher low rule, if we are to draw this as structure, a lot of you may look to this over here as like some starter accumulation. Maybe there's some anticipation of a higher low rule here, but it's in the depths. It's at the very bottom. As a move begins and starts putting in some kind of structural leg or some kind of stage, all of a sudden you get these breakdowns that we speak about. You get these flush outs within the overall stages, as we've spoken about over and over and over again so far, where these flush outs are creating these longer term stages. And again, as we kind of look at the stages, they are a measure in general of how the price is delivering. So in the event that we're looking at that, right, you have these stage ones and twos delivering, you have this flush out. And from there, once again, come the MBs that become potential opportunities. So right now, we haven't spoken about all the opportunities available or how to particularly look for them. We just know that in stage ones, as prices already kind of are delivering through stage ones and twos, and fractally, which means that you can have a black one and a green one, and they're kind of stacked on top of each other. They're both kind of delivering the same market condition. After a flush out, which is oftentimes what we see, a move into a flush out, which starts at stage one, we start to see MBs get built for opportunities to go long, right? So in this scenario, as this gets built, and again, I'm only going to look at the particular ones that actually ended up working out. But from there, you had MBs. Here we are. Let's make sure this is seen correctly. We'll do like this, and we'll get rid of the opacity here. Okay, so you have MBs that begin to deliver the market higher. You have follow-up MBs that deliver the market higher. Let me actually do it like this. You have follow-up MBs through the flush outs that create moves higher. Within those MBs, of course, you have other MBs. Now, I'm skipping the large ones, but yes, there are large MBs as well that are then delivering the market higher. From there, from out of the stage ones, come new MBs that deliver the market higher. And these MBs also have MBs within them and have MBs within them that deliver the market higher. So over and over and over again, you're seeing, at least from a bullish side perspective, when a market is delivering in stage ones and stage twos, over and over and over again and undergo anticipations of the higher lows in some way. So there's some kind of flush out, and then price begins to accumulate those orders. You then get the MBs that start to move higher and usually results in new stage twos into new stage ones. So once again, as we follow this, right, there's other MB opportunities throughout this based on how you view your flushes, as I've said before. But the next clear flush is probably this one right here. That flush is then followed up, as we know, by MBs. So here's an MB that's set up, price went, and then in this case, it just came back to it. Another MB here where, as you might notice, so as you start testing yourself and as you start seeing this yourself, this is, for instance, an MB we wouldn't ever trade, right? At the time, it was kind of clear. It was quite okay. But then if you notice, the next candle opened up down here and then began to move higher all the way through. So you would not be buying this with this candle already starting down here. This would just cancel it out. But nonetheless, that is a buildup of an MB. All of a sudden, you then get another flush out, followed by, once again, buildups of MBs. That's an MB. Buildup of MBs. That's an MB. And then a buildup of an MB, this MB right here. And funny enough, as we're doing this right here is the actual MB I personally traded, because I said a second ago, I'm going to show you a few examples. Now, again, not all my entries are going to look like these, and we're going to walk through all the opportunity and entry types, because again, one of the biggest things you're learning to do is create a system tailored to your actual trading, to the things that you do best, the things that you spot best, or the markets that make the most sense, and then have a proper regimen, a proper process by which you're going to find markets and trade those markets on any time frames, any markets for your given setups. Okay, so this was actually the MB I personally entered. I entered through this high. I threw my stop somewhere like under this low, I believe, and I took this thing higher. And with the expectancy, as we said before, of new stage ones and stage twos continuing and new green ones continuing. And similarly, as you see here, it is true, and you can start to kind of write this down or think about it and let it linger in your head. As prices do start real trends or real moves, those kind of fractal stage ones and twos, these kind of little ones, stage ones and twos within the larger stage ones and twos, will also produce potential opportunities or MBs for entries, right? If we want to go over them, you'll see the same thing. You'll see MBs, lots of which get validated, create that setup, and then continue, right? And I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint right now before we even reach it, just so it's in your mind. The more MBs you trade that are a little bit higher up, the more they start coming out of, let's say, a longer term stage one, the likelier you're actually going to start getting into a little bit more chop. Because, after all, once price is validated, it doesn't always go, right? That's not how trends work. But in the event that it does validate, you can get very good risk to reward and a lot of money out of the potential delivery of a move like that. So just keep that in mind. You don't have to do much with that just yet. You can take a note on it, but just keep it in mind, because again, what you're seeing right now out of the last few trades have been examples directly with deeper flush outs, with deeper stage ones that are creating these accumulations. And in the next video, we're going to step into what these areas actually represent and what we can do from there, because there's a cycle associated with price. But right now we're just starting here. So yeah, funny enough, another trade that I personally took was off of that larger flush out that started coming down. In this case, the flush out took a little bit of time. And then from there, as the MBs began to form in what we suspect to be a stage one, due to the underlying delivery of this market currently, after price flushes out and starts building those MBs, I took this MB personally, and here is that exact MB that I traded. Again, ignore a lot of the lines you see here. They're not really important. These are just from teaching, from talking, from one-on-ones and stuff like that. But at the moment, you have the anticipation of the higher low, overall reaccumulation, as we assume. MBs begin to get built, and that's the long I took with my stop under and look to take it long. And actually, just to go over where we are right now, I just want to showcase this really quickly. This is a trade I'm still personally in. This is that original trade I took. This is the original partial I took. And right now I'm still holding this with management. I'll have to take a look at it a little bit later to decide if it's worth completely peeling off or keeping on. But this is still that same trade with the expectancy for these stage ones and twos to continue delivering long, right? So this is exactly where this is coming from. From when I took it, you can see this was like live price right here. And as since then, I've started to take money out of it, started to take profits out of it, and I'm letting the rest kind of run and see where it wants to go or what it wants to do. Okay, we'll talk about that later. Nonetheless, this is another real life example of the exact thing you've learned so far. stage ones and stage twos, having a general understanding of how those ones and twos are potentially delivering, or even at the very start, how are they starting, right? Where are they coming from? 1 to 2, right? Some of you likely are going to be taking trades even in areas like this. These might be MBs that are more than certain and good in your system where you take them, and this is your profit made, and that's all you need. And that could be more money that you've ever made in your life, right? And you're going to learn how to do that and how to scale your accounts and actually do that. But nonetheless, this is that same representation of what we've been talking about. Every market that tends to start a trend or tends to trend is going to do so within stage ones and stage twos, stage ones and stage twos, stage ones and stage twos. Oftentimes the stage ones are going to have fractal stage ones and twos within them, but within that stage one, you're going to have that anticipation of the higher low or an accumulation start. And after a flush out of some sort, you're going to start building MBs that are going to take you into the next stage 2 higher, which is what you saw in all of these examples here as we went through them all, and what you're seeing in this example today. And again, okay, I don't have it drawn, but again, as you saw in the other ones, if you try to draw the stage 1s and 2s, in general, there's going to be a consensus behind how that stage 1 and 2 delivery has actually occurred. So this is another example of that. And now we can get into the much deeper parts. So let's do it.